How to transfer my SSH keys to another machine. I have accounts on two machines, H1 and H2. I created SSH keys on H1 and installed it on S1. I can now SSH to S1 from H1. I want to do the same from H2. How do I install the SSH keys generated on H1 on H2?
Use SSH copy ID. Synopsis. SSH copy ID, identity_file, user at, machine. Description. SSH copy ID is a script that uses SSH to log into a remote machine and append the indicated identity file to that machine's //ssh/authorize_keys file.
Edited, if you own both machines, you may share your private key. But this solution is not safe for case of stolen notebook or for machines you don't own. You may copy your private keys from H1 to H2, if you want to use the same private key to be able to log in from H2 to S1. When you are at H1, do these commands. Warning! This will delete and replace any private key you had at H2. Better way is to generate new private keys on H2, SSH keygen, and install their public part on S1 with SSH copy ID utility. In this safer case you will have two sets of keys, one is for H1, S1 login, and second for H2, S1 login. There will be two public keys authorized at S1. And you will be able to revoke any of them or both, for example, when your notebook is stolen, or owner of the machine decides to disable your account and reuse all your files.
Use to private keys. Set up H2 using the same process, but not the same private key, as you did when you set up H1. There is never a good reason to copy a private key from some other machine. If you haven't already generated a fresh private key on H2, do so now. Also generate the corresponding public key. In a terminal on H2, type SSH keygen tirasa. Copy your H2's public key to the server. In a terminal on H2, type SSH copy ID username at s1.net. But use your actual username on S1 and S1's hostname, and later type in your password on S1 when it asks for it. This installs the public key of your workstation into the tilde.ssh authorized_keys file for that user on the server. There is no step 3. From now on, you can log into the S1 from your H2 and also log into the S1 from your H1. Details. I assume that what you are really asking is, I have a server, S1. I log into my server from my personal laptop, H1. I also want to log into my server from my workstation, H2. What is the right way to do that? I suppose I could simply log in with the same password from both places. That can't be the right way, because everyone says that public key authentication is much better than passwords. I suppose I could simply copy the private key from my laptop to my workstation. That can't be the right way, because everyone says that the private key is never supposed to leave the client machine. People have it hammered into their head that one account on a server has a single username and, of course, a single authorized password. Public key systems like SSH are better than the password system. One account on a server has a single username and any number of authorized public keys, all of them listed in the tilde.ssh authorized_keys file. More details.
For shifting of SSH keys from one computer to another, just copy the entire folder from /.ssh from H1, old machine, to /.ssh content folder of new machine H2. Now try SSH Ubuntu at 13.123.43.26, your S1 IP. Most probably you will get a permission warning to fix that run. chmod 400 /.ssh/id_rsa. Now again. SSH Ubuntu at 13.123.43.26, your S1 IP. It will work fine now.
If you want to support the channel, please consider liking and subscribing.